I just have to. Hello, and welcome to our virtual craft night. I just have to say, ladies, this feels really weird doing this to a camera and not to a room full. But I do have here with me tonight my two daughters, Megan and Lauren. They're going to help me a little bit and make sure that I stay on track. So glad y'all are here, and have a few things to start out with. I first of all want to give a big thank you to my husband, Richard, for cutting all of the wood, over 700 pieces of wood, and for Richard and Tony Evans, who sanded all of your wood for you. You can thank them. So we're very thankful for that. I also want to say thank you to my craft team, who has helped prepare a lot of the supplies. Craft team is Lisa Evans, Kristen Wilkerson, Jennifer Duncan, Karen Wright, Jill Benefield, and Chesley Garcia. Give a round of applause for them. We're very thankful for all the work that they did. Okay, guys, just a couple of things before we start. I'm going to look at my list so I don't forget. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open in prayer. So if you'll just join me wherever you are, by yourself or with a group, let's just open this night. Father God, I just thank you. Lord, I thank you that even in the midst of a pandemic, we can do something that helps us take our mind off of things and do something creative, do something fun, and some people are getting to do it somewhat together within their bubble. I pray, Father, that it would be a good time of fellowship, and I pray it would be a time of laughter and fun. We pray, Father, that everything that's said and done tonight will bring glory to you. I thank you and praise you, Lord, that even in the midst of a pandemic, Father, you are completely in control. You're not caught off guard. This has not surprised you. You're not wondering what's going to happen. And we're so thankful that we serve a God, Father, who is in complete control. We thank you and praise you in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, guys, a few things before we start. If you're seeing this, you're already logged on and online and seeing the live stream. I want to let you know that if you're showing your full screen, you won't be able to see the chat. If you want to chat and say anything, or if you want to chat and ask a question, you will need to exit full screen, and then you'll be able to see the chat. It should be, if you're on a computer, off to the right side, but if you're on your phone, it's probably at the bottom. So feel free to ask questions. My daughters over here are going to be kind of monitoring the chat, so if you have a question, feel free to type it in, and they will relay those to me. Additionally, here's something that you can never do at Real Craft Night. If you need to take a break, or if you get behind, there's just a little pause button. You can just pause me and then catch back up with where we are and then unpause. Also, if you ever have any issues, maybe you don't have super speed internet, if you have any issues with the feed, if you'll go up and find your refresh button on your computer and refresh it, a lot of times that will get you back where you need to be. For those of you who need it, just know that the live event is going to be recorded and it will stay up on the YouTube site via the live stream through the church website for some long amount of time, so you can access it there. If you didn't do it earlier, you might want to find a pair of scissors. We'll need these later on. You don't really need a pair for every person. We're just going to trim the twine at the end, and if you don't have scissors, you can do it later, okay? You also might get a trash can handy to put your trash in as you go. What else? else did I want to tell you? Oh, photos. So if you are with a group, take a picture. Take a picture of y'all while you're crafting. Take a picture of your completed crafts. And you can take a picture of your craft once you get it home and display it somewhere. You can send those pictures to me by text, or you can send them to my email address. We're going to try to post a few of them maybe on the Women's Ministry website, on Facebook, and maybe a few on the church's website. So send those photos in. It will be great to see everybody actually doing this in this different way. Okay. Do we have any questions yet, girls? Oh my gosh, my girls and their funny pictures over there. They are here to keep me on track and also for my comic relief. It's kind of different for me not to have any feedback here in the room with 100 women, but we will make it through. Originally, when we started planning this, I figured that we were going to have about 40, maybe 50 crafters, and when all was said and done, we had 117 ladies sign up. So we're real excited. There's people from out of state, people out of the Metroplex crafting with us tonight or in the days to come. So I think my girls say they're having fun. I hope you're having fun too. Huh? Someone says I'm doing great. It's so much fun. I'm glad. So, my girls said they could feed me like random comments that aren't even posted. Yeah, and my girls would do it. We're going to get out our gloves and put those on before we get started. One thing I want you to do right now is hopefully you all set up your tables and your supplies are all ready. If not, you should pause this and do that now. Also, one thing I want to say is I want you to look at the boards that I have here, okay? Some of you at home, especially people with my type of personality that are perfectionists, are going to look at your wood and say, there's an issue with this. I've got some knot holes, or especially on the back. Look at this one. That's actually tree bark. This board has tree bark on the back. This is going to be just fine. So the boards have been sanded and should do just fine. Here's what I want to tell you. Look at your boards, and we're going to think about our stencils. Here is a big knot hole, but when this stencil is placed like this, which is how it will go on, this is not going to be anywhere in the design area, so it's not a problem. The top of your board will have the twine wrapped around it, and the bottom, like 2.5 inches, is pretty much open. So anything in those areas doesn't matter that much, but just think about which you want the top and bottom of your boards to be, so that once we start applying stencils, they'll be where you want them. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, everybody's going to put on gloves, open up your Ziploc bag, and pull out a baby wipe. Who knew baby wipes had so many uses? So, like your shirt, they were wondering where you got it, but we sent them I made the shirt yesterday because I didn't have to set up all of your supplies in this room, so I had some extra time on my hands. That never would have happened in the past. But also in the past, the week before craft night, I went actually out to stores and went shopping. That's not happening. So we're going to use the baby wipe to apply the brown stain paint that's in this white bottle. Okay? Here's what I want you to do. Put your first of all, make sure the top is tightly, and then the twist top is tightly closed. Then put your finger over the top and shake it. Everybody shake it. Shake it. Okay, we're shaking this because this paint is actually paint mixed with some water. It's thinned down a little bit, which helps it spread on our boards. Okay, I am left-handed, and so I do things different and sometimes backwards. I'm going to work all night from the right over to the left. You can work from the right to the left, from the left to the right, it doesn't matter. But what you want to do is stay consistent, because while we do this board first, by the time we get down here, this board is already almost dry. So don't do them in a random order. Do them. My girls are being rebels over there, starting without me. Okay, so now that we have this shaken, here's what we're going to do. You don't have to put the brown stain on the baby wipe. I'm just going to squirt a little bit, actually right on my board. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to take and go up and down all the way down the length of the board. I'm going to squirt a little bit more. Ladies, remember 2 things. There are no craft team going around to give you more stain. This is all you got. So it's got to last you all 6 boards. Don't get too carried away. I've got my technical guy here. Do you need something or what? He is really cute. It is my husband, just in case anybody wonders. Okay, now once you've covered the face of the board, turn it on its side, and if you've got one of those like tree bark boards, it's going to be a little bit kind of funny, but you're just going to rub down the side, put some stain on that, rub down the other side, and then you're going to do the top and bottom right here. And with the top and bottom, you might kind of just rub back and forth a little bit with that baby wipe. Now, as you go on to your next boards, the baby wipe is going to start getting really soaked with this stain, and so you won't need to squirt as much on each time. Okay? Make sure each time you flip your board back over, do a once-over wipe so you don't get any fingerprints on it. Move to the next board and repeat the process. We're going to do this 6 times. I think my girls are over there trying to race.
No, tell them not to put all the stain on all their boards.
Don't put the stain on every board. You're going to have to do one board at a time, because if you let it... If you try to,
If you do that, it'll make like a horrible thing.
So you need to do one board at a time. Maybe if you listen to the directions, maybe that will help.
Well, then just squirt it on the board.
On one board.
I just did one board and it still did.
Okay. So keep rubbing. Yes, that's the beauty of the baby wipe, is the baby wipe, the moisture and the little soapy stuff in it helps spread it out, even if you get it a little dark in one place. Don't forget the sides and the top and bottom. Now, pardon me, as you do this, what you're going to find is your baby wipe at some point is going to start falling apart. If that happens, let me tell you what you should do. Get a second baby wipe and just kind of wrap around the outside of this, because this baby wipe already has so much of the paint in it, you don't want to waste it. How are you doing? Do you feel like you are staying up? Do you have questions? Have you almost finished your second board? If not, you might need to speed up, or again, you can push the pause button if that's an issue. Again, don't put the stain on too heavy. 2 reasons. First of all, you could run out. Second of all, you need this to dry because we're going to be moving on to next steps. And if you put on so much stain, it won't dry. I continue to call it stain. The truth is, it's what I call a faux stain because it's not really stain. If you try to put stain on a board and then try to apply vinyl to it, stain has oil in it and it won't stick. So that's why we don't use real stain. This is just a soft-bodied paint that is mixed with water, and it does this nice little stain. How are we doing, ladies? Ooh, that's brighter. Was it looking too dark? So all the things that you can appreciate specifically about this virtual craft night, I'm not going to be stopping and telling you to stop talking. I'm not going to be having to stop you and try to wait. Uh-oh, my girls are saying something over there because they're giggling. There'll be lots of giggling. My girls are gigglers, and they love to say things under their breath where I won't hear it sometimes.
Where was virtual mom? You said that you weren't going to get on.
My girls want to know if I could do virtual momming when they were little, so they wouldn't have to get in trouble about things. Okay, I'm on board number 4. If you're still on your board number 2, you might want to go a little faster, or again, push the pause button. So the nice thing about this craft, even though you're doing 6 boards, once you figure out the next step, you're just going to do it 6 more times. So there's a lot of repeat. So you'll get really good at this. Oh, some of the boards are going to appear much darker. It's just differences in the wood. Because the wood was purchased from 8 different Lowe's, over a period of time when y'all kept registering and more registering. And so I kept sending Richard back to Lowe's saying we need more wood. So anyway, they're from a lot of different lots of purchases of the wood, and so they're trees, they're unique, and some of them take the stain better than others. Do we have any questions, girls?
I think you should create a word that says virtual, and then everybody else is going to have the word they repeat back to you.
Lori, my sister, who is joining us by the live stream as well, she from home said, you still need to have a code word for y'all to be quiet, like virtual craft night. So If you hear virtual craft night, then you know I'm getting ready to say something really important. You should really listen. I wish I had a phrase like that for these two. You might not have heard that. She said, oh, you did have a word for that. It was Megan Michelle. So, yeah, there was a few times that phrase was uttered in the growing up years. Okay. Board number 5. Slow down.
Think about how fast Lauren and I are. Think about people who are like perfectionist people.
Megan says I need to slow down. I could name a few of you that I'm going to need to slow down for, but I won't. And I will just say that most of the time, the people I need to slow down for, it's not because they're not smart and capable and able. It's because they are perfectionist and really, really, really wanting to take their time. And I can identify with perfectionism a lot. Okay, hang on a second. Sorry, guys. All right. One of my girls, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're doing. His camera is pulsing or something. So he's trying to check it. They're doing technical things, so bear with us. Keep staining. Ladies, on most of these boards, what I've noticed is the side really does not want to take the stain very much at all, but really don't worry about it because nobody's really going to be paying that much attention to the sides of your craft. So this year we're not putting any kind of hangers on these. You guys can buy some kind of hangers at Lowe's or Home Depot to put on the back if you want. I have mine standing on top of my china cupboard. I would imagine some people may want to put theirs on their fireplace or on top of some other piece of furniture. But if you do want to hang it, you're welcome to get some hardware from the hardware store and do that. Once you have finished all 6 boards, and I know most of you have not yet, but do go back and just check the ends to make sure you didn't miss any of those ends. And if there's any spots that didn't take the stain well, you can just press the baby wipe into them really good because now it's really full with a lot of that stain. Check especially your sides and the ends. Those are the parts that sometimes we miss or forget. There's a lot of variations in the wood. There's a lot of different ways the stain is going to go on, but it just kind of adds to the rusticness of the craft. Okay. Any questions, girls?
No, I think people are just working right now. There's
Okay.
41 different viewers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 39.
So it looks like right now we have 41 different people logged in. And I know some of you are crafting as a group. And I know there are a few of you who will be viewing this at a later time because you were unavailable this evening, or your group was unavailable this evening. If you go back and add anything to the boards to make them any darker, just make sure again you start at the same end and work your way, because we do want these to dry before we move on to our next step. I'm going to let y'all continue this. Okay. How are we doing, girls?
What's next?
We're going to let these dry for just a couple of minutes. Yes. Okay. If you have finished with your brown stain, I want you to do two things. First of all, twist that cap really tight and close it. Take your baby wipes in your hand like this, and then turn your glove wrong side out. Then you can turn the other glove wrong side out, and then all that mess is going to stay inside. And if your trash can was there, you would just throw it away. Okay. So, if you'll notice, the boards that you started with should be just about dry, but we are going to give them just a few minutes to do a little bit of additional drying before we move on. Okay. You need something? Okay. When you walk up here, you make me nervous. It's my technical crew. Want to give a special shout out to Caleb Good, who also came up tonight to help do our live stream, and then to Richard Camper, who's the other half there, making sure all this is coming to you and that y'all can watch and follow along. Okay.
She said she wants a singing intermission with 2 assistants.
Oh, who does?
That's what Lisa said she wants.
A singing intermission? I thought maybe if you want, you could lead us in "O Come All You Faithful" at some point tonight.
Did you tell everybody I'm in slippers?
Um,
You can.
Megan is a little camera shy tonight because she is here in her shorts and slippers. She said I could say it. So,
We are here having fun. I'm here with Kathy Russell, who's joining us for Ladies Craft Night. Rosario.
Rosario, shout out. Okay. And also tonight, My girls again.
Subscribe.
Are is Carrie on?
Yeah, Carrie's on.
So my sister-in-law, Carrie. Shout out to Carrie and Faith tonight. Glad y'all are here. Glad the rest of you are here too, but I don't always get to have my family on.
Let me tell you who else is here.
Angela
Angela Hamilton's here.
Hamilton's here. Alyssa Campbell.
Gail Lindsay.
Gail Lindsay.
Danielle
Danielle
Nelson.
Nelson.
Claire Miller. Claire and Micah.
Oh, Claire and Micah Miller. I'm assuming maybe Sarah's with them. I think we saw Mary Murray earlier.
We got a text from Jackie Sloan.
Jackie Sloan.
Danielle Nelson. Did we already say that?
Danielle Nelson.
Say again?
Yeah.
Yep.
Danielle Nelson.
Okay.
And others.
And others.
You want to shout out?
So if you want to shout out, you've got to make a comment so that we know who you are and that you're there.
Okay, we're probably ready now.
Okay, I think we're going to move on. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 5 of our boards and just scoot them up a little bit. Just enough so that you have a little workroom in front of you.
Robin and Terry are here. 8.
Huh?
Robin and Terry are here. Robin and Terry.
Robin and Terry.
The Waterburger gal.
Oh, the Whataburger gals are here.
They sent a text message.
Okay, I am going to we're going to start putting on our stencils. Now, a couple of things about the stencils. There's 3 different stencils, 2 sets. Your stencil was handily cut and then weeded by the craft team. And shout out to the craft team again, and your transfer tape is on. Okay. You have a squeegee, this yellow thing. What we're going to want to do is flip it over and rub the back of that to make sure all the little pieces stick to the transfer tape. Now, don't take off the stencil or the transfer tape yet. I want you all to watch me do this first one, and then we'll do it again and you will follow. But you need to watch the entire thing, because otherwise I've got some tips that are going to help you put this on easier and straighter. So when it's time, right now it'd be better if you just watch the first one. You're going to flip it to the back. You're going to peel back. There's 3 parts. Let me make this clear. The white part is the backing paper. We're pulling it off. The blue part is the stencil. The clear part is the transfer tape. So from the back side, I'm putting my thumb on the blue stencil and then peeling back the white transfer tape. When I start to feel resistance, because I hope you can see this. I said white transfer tape. It's white backing paper. We're going to try this other way. We're going to go from the bottom this time. From the bottom of the tree. So I'm going to peel the white backing paper, roll it back on itself, because when I roll it back on itself, if any of these little pieces come up, I can roll it back down and rub it again with the squeegee. So I'm rolling this back, and right here I'm getting some resistance. So I'm going to rub those pieces down. I think this is the one Lisa said we should do last. Lisa, is this the one we should have done last? Because this one's a little bit trickiest.
But just go slowly.
Just varnish and go. Okay? You're kind of do a rocking back and forth, and then like I said, if that blue is sticking to the white, just rub that squeegee on there, make it stick down.
Lisa said yes.
This is the one we should have done last. So when in a minute we're going to do another one, don't do this one first because you'll have the experience of doing the other two, and this one will be so much easier. Lisa, I said I was going to remember that and I didn't. So much for that.
Okay. So I started off to the side a little more and it really helped.
Megan says if you pull from the side a little more, it really helps. Okay. Now again, please don't be doing this yet. Just be watching. The stencil is just as wide as your board. Okay? The bottom of the stencil will line up exactly with the bottom of the board. The bottom of the stencil, girls, will line up exactly with the bottom of your board. Here's what you're going to do. Get the bottom exactly even with the bottom of your board, holding the one end up. Make sure it's on there, and then once you have it like that, you're just going to walk your hand up, holding the top part, and then lay it down. Now, once you've done that, you're going to notice it might be a little bit crooked. It's okay. Because once it's down, do not try to yank it back up. You'll be sorry. Okay. Once you've got that down, you're going to burnish that. Does that paint come out of your clothes? It is all acrylic paint, so it should, but I would get it wet and put some stain stuff on it immediately. So once you've got that on, okay, I'm going to do another one, and you guys can do this one with me, but let's do this little bit of easier tree. This is called, I call the pokey tree or the sticky tree, and I call this the leafy tree. Okay, so. Oh. Pokey tree, leafy tree. Pokey tree, leafy tree. Okay. So on the leafy tree, we're going to burnish it down. Oh, here's one other thing I need to tell you. Some of your transfer tape, the clear part, is going to have wrinkles in it. And if that's the case, it might have been one I put on. I'm sure my craft team put all theirs on perfectly. But if you have a wrinkle, it's not a problem. You don't want wrinkles in the blue, but if there's wrinkles in the clear part, it's okay. Okay, so once we've burnished this, flip it over and remove the backing paper. Remember, slowly. Do you see those blue pieces? I did not do a good job of burnishing that down. Burnish something. Okay. Also, this little bitty, if you can see this little bitty piece likes to come up too. Okay. So we're going to pull it back. You see these little pieces? They like to come up. If you will do your burnishing harder and you'll do it on your board, which is the hardest surface, you'll probably get a better connection there. You can also just use your fingernail to push those down if you don't want to keep picking the squeegee up. You just want to make sure none of the blue pieces stay. Also, I find sometimes it's good to do a kind of a rock back and forth motion. How are you doing over there, girls?
Beverly Pratchell says that you sound like the lady from the romper room. The lady from the romper room. Do you know what that is?
Something about the lady from Romper Room?
Says that you sound like her.
Oh, I sound like the lady from Romper Room. Okay. Romper, oh my goodness. Romper Room was a kid's show when we were little. Romper, stomper, bumper, boo. Something, something. I see somebody. So, yeah. It was a kid's show. Some of you will relate, some of you will have no idea. Okay, so we're just pushing these down until they stick, walking it back up. A lot of it, too, may depend on the different transfer tape that you have because there's like 3 different brands of it that we ended up using. Okay, so here we go again. Remember, get it, hold this part up. Make sure this part is up because you can pick this bottom part up when you just touch it there. I can pick this up from here 10 times and not cause any issues. Once I lay the other part of the stencil down, it starts sticking, you're in trouble. I believe it's pretty straight, so now gonna get a little bit there. Okay. When you start rolling down, you can kind of tell if you're going to go too crooked before you actually get the tree part. Okay, now I'm pretty straight. So again, just walking this up and then burnish it down. Okay. Questions on getting the stencils on? Any questions?
It's okay if it gets all wrinkly.
Okay, here's one. There's a lot of wrinkles in the plastic, but there's not wrinkles in the blue part. So this is going to be just fine. Thanks for showing. Okay, we are going to continue doing stencil after stencil till we get all 6 stencils on our board. If you have questions, feel free to type them in and let us know. I'm going to try just burnishing this much harder because last time I had so many pieces that came up. I'm going to do burnishing on the front and the back. Okay, this. Just keep pushing those pieces down till the blue sticks. Remember, if you kind of rock back and forth, sometimes it makes it happier.
Is that who you did photograph partnership? I don't know either. I wasn't allowed to do it. Did you varnish that? Did you burnish it? What is the correct wording on that?
How are we doing?
We're living our dream.
Okay.
So is missing a clear film over the blue one. Is there a way to reuse one? Oops.
Pardon?
They're missing their transfer tape.
Oh, someone's missing transfer tape. Yes, you can actually reuse transfer tape. We've done that in the past. Once you pull the transfer tape off one piece, just like stick it to a cabinet or a wall or something, and then you'll just smooth it down over the top of the stencil that it's missing. Okay, remember, touch it at the bottom, get it real straight, walk it up. So we're putting all the stencils on, then we're going to go back and take transfer tape off.
Okay, Mom,
Yes.
this way is way easier. So I put it down and I'm holding it. And when I'm doing it, I'm pushing with force on this part and I'm pulling up. And then every time it's not, I just,
Okay.
and then it comes, I mean, I haven't had one of these stick and this is the tricky one.
Okay, we're going to try Megan's new technique for pulling the backing paper off. First of all, burnish. Okay. Here's what I believe I understood her to say. As you're pulling the backing paper off, push down as you pull so that
Go slow.
go slow, but rock it back and forth and push down so that when you get to this tree part, it causes you less problems because I'm pushing down as I go. Look. Learn something every day. Thanks, Megan. So we're going to keep pushing down. Keep pushing down. Rock it back and forth. Keep pushing down as you go.
Oh my goodness, Megan did it. One crap bag. You did it.
Okay. Keep rocking back and forth. Keep pushing down. Keep the backing paper as flat as possible, yes. Can we check the air in here? Yes. Okay. Again, once you get the part, just walk it down. Okay. Remember, don't rush getting your stencils on. You want them to be on straight. You want them to be on good. You can pause. If you get behind, you can pause. Okay.
I'm missing the Oh Holy at night or whatever that is.
You're missing one? Okay, my daughter Megan seems to be missing one of her stencils. This, I hope that no one else at home is, but if you are, we will get one to you. Remember, rolling this back slowly, pushing down so all those little pieces stay on the transfer tape. Okay. Again, it's just the same process over and over. We're getting that stencil square to the bottom and then walking it up.
How you doing over there?
I'm doing okay.
This okay?
It's kind of hot in this light.
Okay, what do you need me to do? You need another drink of water?
Yeah, I think after I do this one, I'm thinking
Break.
I'm going to take a little break. How's it going, ladies? We have any questions over there?
No questions, plowing through over here.
Okay. This is my last stencil.
Great.
Okay, that's all the stencils on. We're going to take a quick break. If you want to grab a drink, take a potty break, whatever, I'm going to get a drink. Yeah, it's just hot. Huh?
You just want to sit in isolation?
No, I just want to sit away from that heat. Oh, they can hear me though still. Y'all can hear me. I have to be careful what I say. Yeah, my girls are. Okay, guys. If you took a little break, let's see if we can head back. Virtual craft night. Here we go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take. Am I on? Okay. We're going to take the back, what is this called? The transfer tape off of the stencil. So to do this, you're going to find the edge of the clear plastic piece and you're going to roll it back on itself. With transfer tape, you never want to lift up. You always want to roll back. So you're just going to roll it back on itself. Again, making sure all the blue parts stay down. And it depends on which wood you have, which transfer tape you have. Some of this is going to come off really easy and some's going to require a little more pull. But you just wiggle it back and forth, make sure all the blue stays down. Pull it back on itself, not up, back. And if you were missing a piece of transfer tape, just make sure you save one of them to do that last stencil. Okay. Just pull it back on itself.
Carrie says she's doing good.
Carrie says she's doing good.
Everybody else.
My sister-in-law's doing this, I think, with her daughter, Faith, tonight. The stencils stick pretty well to the board, so you don't have to go too slow on this, but do make sure you're pulling back and not up. Straight back. Straight back. Okay.
Finally got my 6 board stained.
So there's some people who are still staying boards. One tip you could give them if they're watching this at a different time, I think they can watch it under the settings. You can speed you up. Like 1.5 speed. You don't have to watch if you're trying to catch up.
Okay, so one of the things the girls mentioned was some people are going to be working slower, some people are going to be working faster. On the YouTube, down under the settings, you can actually pick how fast you watch something. You can set it at 1.5 times, that's going to be fast, or you can set it at like 0.75, and that'll be slower.
In playback, if you're live,
When you're in playback, once you're live, you can't go faster than me. It doesn't work. Well, you can be crafting faster than me. You can't make the video go faster than me. Okay, so we're going to get all of this transfer tape off. Oh, that was upside down.
One dot does a lot. So that you know what mistakes people can make. Without you. How are you? You need to go get a drink of water?
do you know
Mm-hmm. Are we not live or we are live?
Say something.
we're live, but just wait.
Okay, I guess I'm back. Okay, I want to show you something that happened on this particular stencil of mine. This piece here, this dot of the eye, did not get weeded. So I'm going to take this pen and I'm going to pull that piece out so that when I get ready to paint, I can paint in there. So I just took that little blue piece out. Okay, last piece of transfer tape.
Yeah.
That won't be everybody. That was just a mistake on my particular one.
Lauren is over here looking for it.
It was a weeding error. Again, probably me.
This idea off of Pinterest?
So someone asked where I got the idea. I did get the idea off of the beginning of the idea off Pinterest. I saw a set of basically it was 3 pieces of wood with 3 different trees on them that I was really drawn to. But the more I looked at it, one of my girls said, "We need something Christmassy." So that's when I decided to do something that was kind of shaped like a tree, but had some Christmassy words. So then I found this design and edited the graphic files that I purchased on Etsy to work better with what we were doing. We're going to paint here in a minute, but the 2 things I want to tell you first. Just look at your stencils, listen carefully to this. We're going to run this squeegee over the stencils, but don't do it like this because you could pull something up. You want to kind of flatly just push everything down so that you have a good seal so no paint slips under. Now, if you notice, I don't know whether you can see it here, but right here there's some bubbles on the edge. That doesn't matter because I'm not painting over there. It only matters that it seals where it's open. So anywhere around the open spaces, you want to make sure it's sealed well. So I'm just going to run this down here to make sure I've got a good seal around all the open spots. Okay, I'm going to pull up a chair for this part. You've got cream paint and you've got this little thing that I'm going to call a dabber, okay? So it's a piece of PVC pipe with a makeup sponge inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our tool by just inserting our index finger in there, okay? When you open your paint up, it's really full, okay? So what I want you to do is make sure that you hold onto the container, set it on your plate, and very carefully pull that lid off, lay it on the table, okay? I'm just going to move one board at a time right in front of me. This part, ladies, is not rocket science. We're just going to dab a little bit of paint. You just want to get it on the tip. And then we're going to dab, 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 dab all inside all the open parts of the tree. Now, when you do this, the paint is going to be a little bit on the light side to begin with. Don't put on too much paint because otherwise it will take too long to dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at this end. I'm going to dab all the way to the end. If I want it darker, I'll just put on a second coat. Okay? So just dab in all those open spaces up and down, up and down. It's just like a little woodpecker. Just like a little woodpecker. Just so you want to just get that paint on quickly. Okay? Get the paint on quickly. And you're just going to do this on all the open spots. Dab until you start noticing you're not getting very much paint anymore, and then just go back and get a little bit more. You don't want to get paint on the PVC pipe. You just want enough on the tip of the sponge.
And it's not rubbing it.
Or don't rub it.
Don't rub it. We're not painting, we're stenciling. We're stenciling with this little dabber. It's a real thing. I looked it up, dabber.
I don't.
Thank you, Gail, for the hours you spent creating these stencils.
You're welcome. Thankfully, Lisa Evans also has a silhouette machine, and she cut about half of these stencils as well. So she's a big help. Yeah, it does take quite a while. The different designs take different amounts of time. They were cut two at a time, like together like this. And so to cut one sheet that had these two trees on it, that's about 6 minutes. And these two trees take about 6.5 minutes. The more intricate design, that takes about a little over 9 minutes to cut those. And if any of you have ever seen or better heard a silhouette machine, it makes a horrendous noise while it cuts. Lisa stays in the room with it. Usually I walk away.
You're doing great, Mom.
Thanks. So are most all of you at the point where you are stenciling now? Or do we still have some people doing other parts?
We haven't heard back from them. Give them a couple minutes.
Remember, you can pause, you can rewind, you can back up.
Aunt Carrie's on track.
Aunt Carrie's on track. Good, Aunt Carrie. That was from Lauren. Obviously, I don't call her Aunt Carrie. Okay, so I got to the bottom, to the top, from one end to the other. Now, I want you to notice something here. There are several spots where I can see little pools of paint. You don't want pools of paint on your stencil because it'll take longer to dry. So make sure and dab those if you see any real goopy little parts. And then, like I said, if you want it darker, it's kind of either way, but if you want it darker, you can go back over the entire design. And you really don't have to get more paint too much. You're just kind of reinforcing that color there.
Well, yeah, it's the music and try to slide it along.
So there's going to be a lot of this because it takes a little time to get the paint on these. So okay, so once you're happy with it, you're just going to set that one aside and do it all over again. Do we have any questions on the stenciling portion? If you have some, just let us know.
We should have people send in pictures right now. And then
Some people texted. Let me see if we got.
you should show a picture to the people. It'll make people feel connected to you.
So while we're doing this long processing of the pouncing and dabbing and stenciling, I'd like to take a few minutes just to share with you guys a little bit. This has been a challenging year for most of us. I think more challenging for some than others, but I don't imagine there's any one of us out there that is making it through this without having some days. Maybe multiple days, maybe just a few moments here and there, but it's hard. I'm thankful, and I think sometimes that balance can be a challenge. Knowing that we have so much to be thankful for, having so much, but at the same time, everything's different. Nothing feels normal. But I'm thankful that we have a God that doesn't change, a God that stays the same, a God that is there for us. And a God that knows the end of all of this. And the good thing is, we can know the end of all of this too. Not necessarily when and how, the end of the pandemic, but we can know the end of the story about how our life ends and where we will go when this life is over. The Bible tells us that we have all sinned and consequently have separated ourselves from God. God is holy and God is perfect. And so when we sin, there is a separation. But that's not what God wanted. And so God made a way that we can live with Him forever. A way for those sins to be forgiven. A way to be in a right relationship with Him. And He did that by offering His own Son, Jesus Christ, on our behalf. The Bible tells us that if we place our trust in Him, in His completed work, in coming to the earth, in living a perfect life, in sacrificing Himself on our behalf, to pay for our sins. If we believe that He died and rose again and place our trust in that and that alone, that we can be part of God, that one day we can live with Him in heaven, and even better, not necessarily better, but additionally, we can have that fellowship with Him day to day. That we can have a different life now. Because when we place our trust in Christ, God gives us the gift of the Holy Spirit to live inside us, to help us live the way that He wants us to, and to be our counselor, to be our comforter, and to be our helper. I'm glad that God doesn't leave us alone just to wait till the one day, but He's with us now. If you've never done that, if you've never placed your trust in Christ, I invite you to. If you want to know more about that, some of the people you're crafting with tonight, I'm sure would love to share that with you as well. If you don't have anybody who can share that information with you, I would urge you to give me a call, send me an email, contact the church office. We would love to share with you how you can be part of God's family forever and know that when everything is over, that you're going to spend eternity with Him. And that is such a comfort. But I also want y'all to know that even knowing that things can be hard. So I think it's important that we are aware of trying to be there for those that we care about, that we look out for our friends, for our family, for those around us who might be struggling, and that we are supportive to them. Because some days it's them and some days it's me. We all need that support around us. And sometimes that's hard to find in the midst of a pandemic. This semester, I've been doing a Bible study in precepts on Philippians about rejoicing in the Lord. And I think sometimes we don't rejoice as much because we have our eyes on the wrong thing. So I just want to remind you guys, keep your eyes on Jesus, because he is the only reason that we really can rejoice. Again, watch out for one another. Be supportive. That's what I had to share tonight. I am only on board number 2. Are y'all ahead of me?
You've been talking.
I've been talking. Okay. More stenciling. All right. Number 3. So here's the nice thing. This time, y'all just can be talking amongst yourselves while you're doing all this stenciling. This is a good visiting time.
I feel like they could listen to some Christmas music if they really want to.
Christmas music.
You could turn on some Christmas jams.
Can we?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I just didn't think.
No. Oh, Lauren's suggesting you might want to turn on some Christmas music while you're doing this.
Before Thanksgiving.
Okay, but we're making a crap for Christmas.
And it's a little Christmas.
Okay. So any comments, or everybody's just dabbing? Any questions? Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
If you're hot, you should just come over here while you're dabbing. Everybody knows this. Or have Dad turn the light off.
I'm okay sitting down and drinking. I'm okay. You want to make sure that you're getting all the open spots of the stencil. And remember, look for petals. Dab on those petals so that they spread out and dry quicker. Because the paint is going to dry on the wood much quicker than it's going to dry on your stencil because there's nothing to absorb it.
How you doing over there, lady?
I'm doing okay. How are y'all doing?
Fabulous.
6.
5? You're on number 5? Mm.
Hi, Dad. What's craft night going for you? I am going to just wait. It's real hope personally.
Don't forget to take pictures
Send them. You send them in.
and send them.
To Mom. I don't know, Mom, which email did you,
Hmm?
what email did you want them to send their pictures to?
Oh,
Gmail?
I have a Gmail account. It's Gail Camper, GailKamper, Gail Camper at gmail.com.
Email your pictures there. You're gonna have no.
Email your pictures there.
I don't know what you said.
Like,
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
So,
You have to say it
Say it
again.
again.
Your mic was off.
oh, I'm going to say this again because my mic was off. If you send in pictures to that Gmail address, we may be able to post some of them while we're doing all this dabbing.
Here, Lauren, send them in. The ones that you've already got. Your hair.
Oh, I've got hair. Thank you.
How you doing?
Doing okay.
Doing great. Literally mastering this. I'm gonna give this to my neighbor that I've never met, but she seems like she would be into this.
Okay, I'm starting my board number 5. How are y'all doing over there?
Perfect.
doing good.
Living our best life.
Ashley Todd is on.
Ashley Todd is on. Did she send a picture?
No, but she just said she thought she was seeing a
Oh,
Anyway. Wait, shout out to Ashley.
shout out to Ashley,
Lake Ridge is the secretary,
church secretary here. Helps us with lots of stuff, getting announcements out, getting the sign up. Yeah, thanks to Ashley for getting the sign up online. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. She's always so great to help with all those things.
and now she's mad that you shouted out. No, just kidding.
She just said, why?
Why did you shout?
We got some pictures.
It doesn't matter. I'm not even. Looks good. I'm not like. I like that it's not all even. Looks more worn.
So, Megan, you want to sing for us?
I've got sniffles.
There's books up to the middle of the store that Bob knows, and there's like all the places and your daughter. And she's pony, sleeping shed, bed, and I'm like, who's staying? Who's staying? Holy shit. I don't know. Call them. They're calling me up. You see their phone? Oh yeah. Verse 9 of
Verse 95 of it.
send me the page so I can see how much of a kid he's supposed to be. I don't know what to do about it. Paula De Leon says she's on board 3.
Who?
Paula De-
Paula?
Okay.
Paula's on board 3. That's okay. You're doing great. Again, remember, if I start moving on and you're not ready, just hit the pause.
What am I doing here? Pulling this up.
I got my little hand.
Or if you want to stay with us, you could also just do as many boards as you can and go back and finish the others later. Those are options. Anything you choose.
Did someone put a board come up?
A little bit. Not too bad though.
I just like split tree kind of.
Last one here.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. What?
I said I was thinking that too. What did she say? Yeah, I think she said everything's alright or something.
How you doing?
I'm on my last dabbing one. Okay. Once you're done with the dabbing on the last one, here's what you're going to want to do. Make sure and put your lid back on your paint real tight, because like if you're at someone's house, you don't want to spill that all over their floor. Okay? We're going to set this over here. Now, if you look at this particular stencil, you can see the shiny places where it's still wet. Okay? But if I come to my very first one and look, everything is dry. But listen, even though it looks completely dry, some of the white paint might come off on your hand. So you don't want to get that white paint on the other parts of your board. The first thing I want you to do before you start pulling these stencils off, pull out the baby wipes that you have left over and just set them on here so you have them handy. We're going to start removing these stencils. I'm going to tell you a couple of tricks, okay? First of all, this is my favorite part of the craft because you start getting to really see what you've done. But as you pull these off, they're going to rip in pieces. That's okay. So I'm just going to lift up, and if you pull from the side, you're going to get a little more that stays together. The more that stays together, the less you have to pick off later. So if you pull them from the side, you'll get more of it off in one piece. Pull them from the side, more of it will stay together for you. So, I'm just going to do one right now, then I'm going to show you what we'll do next. We're going to take the pen, it's on this green piece of cardboard here. This is just to find those little pieces. You're going to stick it under the edge and lift up and then pull the excess that's still there. Just make a pile. Stick all the little excess pieces in it. If you aren't as young as my daughters, this is the time you probably will need to pick up your reading glasses so you can see all those little pieces. So you're just going to slide the edge of a pen under it. Once you get it up, just pull it with your fingers. Once you've finished one, oops, you think you're finished, but come down here to the bottom of the tree. There's those little bitty pieces that need to come up. Don't forget the parts in the trunk. Peel all those off. And then I like to, once I'm done, just kind of turn it side to side and rub my hand gently over it to see if there's any other little pieces of the stencil that I missed. And look, one done. What? Question? What?
Yours looks great. We love it.
Your paint is different than our paint. Just like
My what? Is what? Okay. So we're going to pull the next one off. Again, pulling from the sides, you're going to get a little better ability to pull the majority off in one piece. Then this tree takes kind of a long time because you've got these little tiny pieces in the trunk, and then you've got all those little leafy parts. Anybody have questions at this point about pulling these off? Now, depending on how good the seal was, and depending on how your wood is, there's a chance you're going to have a little bit of bleed under the stencil. And I'll just tell you, while you're looking at it up close like this, that's a little bothersome, but once you display them and are looking at them not 6 inches away, it's really not going to be an issue. So we're pulling all this excess stencil off. We have any questions, girls?
no, we're talking about our Christmas stockings now
Okay. Oh,
for the new babies.
okay.
Go tell everybody you're busy.
When you push the pin in, make sure you do it not down but sideways so that you don't rip up so much of your wood. Make gouges. Again, just look. Make sure you get all these pieces down here at the bottom. And again, here we go. We're going to show some photos. Ah, great.
Crafting. Clothes with crafting. With your maps and everything. Are they here?
My tech team is showing some photos for us. All right, so this just takes a little time, piece by piece.
Mom, tell them where to send the pictures again.
Okay, you can send the pictures to my Gmail address, Gail Camper, that's GailKamper at gmail.com. Okay. Stencil number 4 coming off.
Can't you have a chalk marker in your purse?
No. So, on some of these stencils, you may be pulling up little slivers of wood when you remove the stencil. Now, for some of you, that's going to be just a little more character on your board, and that's okay. For some of you, that's going to be a little distressing. So one thing you can do is take a little bit more of this brown stain paint and use a little bit of a Q-tip and just rub it into those little spots. But I think it just can just add to the character of the board. As you remove, oh, look what happened to me. No. As you remove the stencil, there was a little bit of wet paint on that stencil. So look what I've done. I've gotten it here on my board in 2 places. First, I'm going to get it off my hands with a baby wipe, so I'm not making things worse. Then I'm going to take this baby wipe here and just rub that area, and look, magic. It's like an eraser. It's not really magic. So I removed that, and you can't even see it anymore. Baby wipes. Okay.
Oh, they can also post pictures on the women's ministry page. If they're on
You can also, if you are part of our LRBC Women's Ministry on Facebook, you can go there and post pictures there. Okay. Oh. Hello. Lauren's trying to post a picture for us. Okay, remember as you're pulling this off, watch for those wet spots. Make sure it's dry before you start yanking this up. And remember, if you pull from the sides, you're going to get a little bit more bang for your buck as you pull this off, not have to do so many little separate pieces. Huh? Hey! My girl's over there taking pictures. So pull all this off. This one is the one that has a little bit more detail that you're going to have to pull up separate. Okay. Don't stack your boards until like at least tomorrow. Try to keep them separate as you can, just to make sure they're really, or make sure they're really dry. You don't want to smear stuff. They should be dry, but just in case. Okay. So, lifting all this up. How are you doing, ladies? How are you doing peeling these stencils off?
I'm having blast.
Little bitty pieces. Make sure you get all the little insides of your letters on this particular stencil. Has lots of little pieces. Yep, one more. Just look it over and see if you're missing any parts. Last one. I'm doing well.
You should announce to them that you didn't write down your directions.
Oh, so for the first time probably ever, I did not do handwritten or written out instructions for this craft, which is highly unlike me. I usually start my directions like weeks in advance and then perfect them and correct them. So, yeah, it's COVID. I'm winging it, which is also highly unlike me, winging it. Words people have used to describe Gail Camper in their lifetime, winging it, not usually one of them. Okay. All these little pieces.
Oh my goodness. Help me, Janice.
Everybody hanging in there?
Hang in there. Oh, where's my...
Questions?
More photos on your way.
More photos.
Oh, okay.
More photos come in. almost there.
Are we supposed to be able to see these?
You should be seeing them, it might take a second for them to come through them. It might be a little delayed. But it should be like a, go to blank and then.
Oh, there's one.
So,
Oh, there's Rosario.
y'all doing okay? You getting those stencils off?
Oh, are you done already, Bob?
We're down to the last wire here. Getting this part done.
I think it's Jill. I think it was Jill. Hold on, we'll go back.
Hmm?
There's Rosario.
Oh, fun. Okay. Oh. Can you tell me who it is, or can we see? I can't see. Oh, someone's. Okay, that's me. All right, guys. I've got all my stencils all pulled off. I'm going to do one last look over, make sure I didn't miss any of the little blue stencil-y part in there. Okay, I know some of you aren't done. Remember, you can pause, but for those who are ready and want to move ahead, I'd like to just move on. So here's what we're going to do. Final touch, we're going to add some twine to the top of our boards. I stood up. Oops. Now my head's probably cut off. Okay. So you've got 6 pieces of twine, and we're going to wrap them around the top. If you'll watch the first one, then it's pretty much just repeat. So take the twine on the back side of the board, holding a little tail, maybe about 4 or 6 inches. Hold that with one hand, wrap around in some kind of random crisscrossy thing 4 times. Any design you like. And then you're going to flip it over and watch this. If you have somebody with you, it's really good to have a finger there, but if not, when you cross your string under the twine, if you will do it twice, when you pull, the fibers tend to hold each other much better. Then you can come back and do the final knot. After you've done that, take your scissors, trim the ends. If you don't have scissors tonight, you'll find them at some point and trim them. There you go. So I'll show you again. Take the twine, lay it on the back of the board. You're going to want to have a tail of about 4 inches or so. Hold that with one hand, wrap it around. Bring it to the back. Go under that piece twice. Pull tight. And then hold that with your thumb. Tie the knot. Clip off the ends. That one's done. We're just doing the same thing on each board. I didn't do much crossing there, so I'm going to redo that. Hey, Lauren,
Yes, ma'am.
you come clean this up. Okay. We're going to just repeat this on all of our boards. Yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to get the trash mainly. Thanks.
More pictures.
More pictures. Yep, it went blank.
Oh, they're dabbing. They're using.
Oh,
They did the dab.
oh. We had some people doing the dab dance while they were doing their dabbing. Lots of them.
People are doing it.
Lots of people doing the dab. Lots of fun. Okay. Oh, look here. Here I am just doing this, and I realize your pen?
Right there.
I completely missed these pieces down here at the end. On the trunk. Remember the ones I told y'all not to miss? Well, look, I missed them.
Tight. I wouldn't tie them around each other because then it loosens all the others. How about it? Let's hold it, eh? You made it.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, this is the cutest craft knife ever was.
Wrap.
Oh, come little.
Are we going to sing? Nope. Okay, guys.
This is the easiest part of the craft.
This is the easiest part of the craft.
Lauren is freaking out. You wrap string around and tie it in a knot.
You know why Lauren is struggling because it's supposed to be random. It's hard to do random on purpose. Some people do random much easier. Some people do random without trying. Okay. And there you go. Are those all in the shot? And that's craft night.
You did it, Mom!
We made, oh my gosh, the shortest craft night ever. Wow. You know why that is? Y'all weren't here all talking.
It could be this fast.
Could be part of that. Could be part of it. Could be, it's a fairly simple craft too. But we did miss you. This has been very interesting. I am glad that we did craft night this year, even virtually. But I will tell you guys, I really look forward to the day when we can do it all together again. Hopefully next year. Yep. So, again, remember, send in those pictures. Post them to the Lake Ridge Facebook page or email them to me, and we'll see if we can post some on the church's website as well. There's so much chatting and giggling over here. I do not even know what they're saying. So, anything, girls, you want to come over for one last shot over here? Come on.
I don't even know if we're on there right now. We're on.
Thank
Hi.
you. Thanks for coming. Thanks
love
for
my
joining
mom.
us for
Hold on,
craft night.
Fuzzy slippers in there.
Real over here, over on this side. Sorry.
Oh, I'm on this
Oh.
side.
So thanks to my daughters. Thanks to our tech team. Thanks Caleb. Thanks Richard. Thanks to the craft team. Can never say enough about all that help that they give me. And thanks to you guys for joining us.
You're
Yes.
the best, Mom.
She's the best. Everybody,
Love you
Sandersdale
guys.
Camper,
All right.
hoorays and
You did
yays.
great, Mom.
Are we out?
We're
Girls
out.
look fabulous.
Are we out?